What's up, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Bulls Latest. I'm your host, Matt Johnson. Jumping right into things today, wanted to talk about a guy who has become a hot name in Chicago Bulls trade rumors this offseason, and that's Houston's Jalen Green. Jalen Green would be on the move most likely if the event of a blockbuster trade took place, sending Kevin Durant from Phoenix to Houston there. And if that were to materialize, you would have a situation where Jalen Green could be rerouted from Phoenix to Chicago as part of a multi-team deal. This one scenario that I wanted to look at with you guys today has the Bulls sending Kobe White and possibly Kevin Huerter to go along with some other trade assets to Phoenix, and they would receive Jalen Green in return. Despite these rumors here, Jalen Green has made it well known that he does not desire to leave Houston. Obviously, he would have very little of a choice there to do so if Kevin Durant were to be sent to Houston. With a player of that magnitude, kind of signifying what Houston wants to do moving forward, and that's win now. Jalen Green could be on the outs, and I think Chicago would be a very good destination for him to kind of revitalize and have another opportunity to succeed there. I just think, with the Bulls needing another playmaker, this offers another opportunity to add a dynamic scoring and athletic player to their roster. I think, with him starting all 82 games for Houston this past regular season, he's shown that he's very durable, can stay on the court, provide valuable playing time in a rotation that the Bulls so very need there. So, he did score 21 points a game to go along with 4.6 rebounds a game in the regular season, was also a major contributor for this Houston Rockets team in their playoff postseason push there. He did score 13.3 points a game in the postseason to go along with 5.4 rebounds a game and nearly 3 assists a game. So it was a good piece for that Houston Rockets team, a very young Rockets team that made a surge and made a push in the Western Conference this year. But, that rumor with Kevin Durant in that trade, from Phoenix to Houston, if that materializes, then I think it is most certainly going to be a guy that's going to be on the move in Jalen Green. So if you're the Bulls, you want to keep an eye on that. I think the Bulls would have no problem in sending a guy like Kevin Huerter, along with some other assets. You could maybe, like I've talked about, move Lonzo Ball to Phoenix as well. That's a guy that it's going to be very interesting to see what Phoenix wants back. And I covered this in my previous episode here, but they're going to want a center in return for a Kevin Durant deal. So this would, be a very solid opportunity for the Bulls to look at something and what Phoenix could want in return. And you could get a guy like Jalen Green. I think he'd be a solid asset for a Bulls team moving forward here. Now, moving into a guy I wanted to kind of profile on ahead of the draft. We are now just a week away from. I'll get into more of a draft outlook a little later here. Carter Bryant. This is a player in his freshman season out of Arizona showed a lot of promise here. At 6'8", 225 pounds, he is considered an ideal player for modern NBA circles here. He's a good, solid forward. He offers excellent lateral mobility. He's an explosive leaper. This guy has a great athletic skill set that I think could provide a lot of value to the Chicago Bulls here. And with him being linked to Chicago, that is going to be a name to watch here. I know there's a number of forwards the Bulls have worked out pre-draft here and a number of names that I've looked at, this being the newest. So this guy, definitely has room to add muscle. He's going to bulk up more than likely as he gets into the NBA, as we've seen with the likes of guys like, I'm not saying he's in the same realm as Giannis Antetokounmpo, but this is a guy in Carter Bryant who could enter the league and then gain some mass there and become a bigger player and a stronger individual, one that the Bulls could plug and play there as a small forward or a power forward there. So definitely a name to watch there. In his freshman year at Arizona here this past season, he averaged 6.5 points a game to go along with just over 4 rebounds a game. So he definitely is a work in progress, but an exciting prospect who a lot of NBA scouts believe will flourish at the next level at some point in his young career here. So, and I think the biggest element, quite honestly, to his game, he offers a lot of defensive versatility, which is where he fits with the Bulls extremely well. This is where I think the core of this draft pick makes a lot of sense for Chicago, is what he provides for them on defense. He is also a great distributor of the basketball. And for a big guy there, he's a great ball handler as well. He's projected to go somewhere in the range between 9 and 15, so it's right in the sweet spot for the Chicago Bulls. This is a guy who I certainly would like to see them give an opportunity. If it does shake out in the draft next week that he's available and the Bulls see him as their best option, I could see them pulling the trigger. So we'll keep an eye on him. As far as another free agent, I wanted to kind of go over. Now, this guy would be on the lower echelon of free agents available, but a guy I wanted to kind of profile today and take a look at, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He is a very solid two-way guard, and he is a 26-year-old with some playoff experience in the last couple of years with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He did play minimum minutes, so I think him coming to Chicago would definitely be an expanded role, but with him shooting nearly 40% from the three-point line, that offers the Bulls an opportunity to add a guy who would fill a void, and that would be, you would add another perimeter shooter. I think adding perimeter shooters is something the Bulls will continue to look to do both through the draft and free agency, and you can get him on a very, very cheap deal, I suspect here. So, he wasn't the biggest contributor for Minnesota this past season, where he did average just under 9.5 points a game. He shot 44% from the field in that time on the floor to go along with shooting 38% from three. So this would be in a lot of ways a big defensive upgrade for the Chicago Bulls. And again, the common theme here in Carter Bryant and then this free agent pickup in Nickeil Alexander-Walker would be defense. I think you would offer some improvement by adding a valuable defensive piece in both guys. I think Carter Bryant has a lot more upside, obviously, than a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but it's a fun name to watch. He's a guy you can get for an incredibly cheap contract there, and could play some valuable minutes and could kind of be that guy off the bench for the Bulls who, provides some value there. So definitely a name to look at there. And now, I wanted to kind of dive into the draft. We're just 1 week away from the NBA draft taking place, an exciting time. I touched upon a number of forwards here. I want to see who you guys want the Bulls to select, and if you want them to stay put at the 12th overall selection. Do you want to have the Bulls trade up into the first round there? Would you like to see them take a guy like Ace Bailey? I would be very excited if they did make a push to get a guy like that. You guys know I'm very high on Derek Queen, so I kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts. What do you want to see the Chicago Bulls do in the upcoming draft? It's a crucial one for the Bulls. It's one that kind of hinges on their future in the next couple of years here and what direction this team's going to head. Now, they do have money that they are kind of stockpiling here to either make a move in free agency this season or next. I suspect it's going to be next season is when they kind of go all in on a big free agent, but a lot of talent in this upcoming draft and some names that I've profiled. I think Colin Murray Boyles is a guy to watch. I know he has a lot of Bulls fans excited in what he could provide. I mean, there's a lot of young players coming out of the draft, a lot of one-year guys, a lot of freshmen who are making the jump to the NBA. That's become very common in today's league, so it's not necessarily a big surprise, but offers a lot of excitement that what the youth of the NBA is going to be moving forward here. The Bulls are a very young team already, so I think especially if they move on from Lonzo and Vooch like they're expected to do, they're going to be a very young roster. And I think that's something Billy Donovan is excited for. I think AK is going to put this team in a position now to thrive off of the youth that they have. They've kind of been in a standstill, in a middle ground when it comes to bringing in these veterans in recent years, and have now made it very clear that they're heading in the direction of building for the future. And so I I want to see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what trades you would like the Bulls to kind of push for, what guys you would like to see brought in. Let me know as well, like some other free agents that you guys see fit in Chicago, some names that ring a bell and would be exciting. So I know there's a lot of opportunity out there for the Bulls to improve, and I think this offseason is a great spot for them to jump into another competitive window moving forward by building this team. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Bulls Latest. Excited for the draft, just a week out, and we will talk to you guys next time.